Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Leticia Acosta, and I'm Director of Subiendo, the Academy for Rising Leaders. It's my sincerest pleasure to welcome you back to the University of Texas campus for the closing luncheon of our 2019 Academy. On behalf of the Subiendo staff, we want to extend our sincerest thanks to the students for making this week so memorable. Parents, family members, friends, thank you for joining us again today as we close out the 10th class of Subiendo. And thank you for raising such wonderful and well-mannered young adults. They truly represent the best the state has to offer, and you should be very proud. I would like to extend the thanks certainly to the individuals who make Subiendo possible. The Friends of Subiendo, who our students met last night, they've invested in this program because they believe in the potential of these young leaders. In fact, they believe in it so much that we have a Subiendo scholarship that we can award to one student in this class right here who is enrolled in the Macomb School of Business. It's a 4-year full-ride scholarship at $25,000 a year, so that's a $100,000 scholarship to one student in this room who enrolls in the Macomb School of Business. That's how much we believe in your potential. To Southwest Airlines, who flew in over half of our participants to Austin this week. I would like to extend our sincerest thanks to them because they are truly closing the opportunity gap that exists by removing the travel barrier. Today's keynote speaker is Dr. Nolan Perez, a proud member of the Board of Regents for the University of Texas System. He will be introduced by one of our student leaders in a short moment, but I just want to say thank you, Dr. Perez, for being with us today. You rising leaders, you were challenged this week to find a solution of your own to one of today's challenges. To find an answer in such a short amount of time is truly an outstanding accomplishment, and you should be proud. You entered Subiendo on Sunday surrounded by new faces, yet you developed relationships and learned to work together as a team. I encourage you to use these skills you learned this week and be the leader we are expecting you to be. Not only does Subiendo believe in your potential, but so do our donors, our friends, the University of Texas at Austin, and the Macomb School of Business. We are all committed to your development by supporting you. To introduce our final closing speaker, I'd like to invite from Team Moose, Olga Arozena from Brownsville. Will you please join me on stage, Olga?
Good afternoon, Subiendo family, before all the crying happened. So I want to introduce Dr. Nolan Perez, experienced and board-certified gastroenterologist in private practice with a track record of providing the safest and highest quality care to patients in a friendly manner. We are affordable and in network with almost all insurances, and our offices has a culture of continuous improvement and excellent customer service. Our focus is helping patients maintain and restore health, feel better, and prevent cancer. I'm a proud veteran of the U.S. Navy, where I served as a medical corps officer. And I am currently a clinical associate professor at the UTRGV School of Medicine. Aside from my dedication to helping patients, I have a passion for education, mentoring, and community service. In the Rio Grande Valley, I'm honored to serve on the Harlingen ISD School Board, UTRGV Development Board, and Lone Star National Bank Board. At the state level, I served as a regent for the Texas Women's University and served on numerous boards, including Physiological Society of Texas, UT Foundation, Holdsworth Center, Texas Lyceum, UT System Chancellor's Council Executive Committee, UT Austin Development Board, Humanities Texas, and First in Texas Foundation. So can you guys please help me welcome Dr. Nolan Perez.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, thank you so much. Can y'all hear me okay? Yes. Well, listen, I'm very excited to be here. This Subiendo program is incredible. The students I've been talking to, the winners, I guess, of the competition are just phenomenal. So I know it's just all of y'all are just as amazing, but just really this Subiendo program, just really impressed. I'm so proud to be here, but I didn't eat any food because, like Gabriela said at my table, no quiero estar subiendo de peso, so I didn't eat any food today. So, but thanks for that joke, Gabriela. So, but here's what I'm going to do. I know I'm on this is kind of like not a good position for me to be in, because I know I stand before you and your flight home, and I know you've been missing home and wanted to get home. So, but I want to try to make this interactive. I want to have a dialogue with you, but I do have some remarks that I prepared, but they're really brief, probably about 7-8 minutes. It'll fly by, trust me. And I hope you'll get something from that. And I hope it sparks some questions and answers, and some questions for you guys, and I hope to engage you in a dialogue as well. So, be thinking about some things you want to ask maybe a regent or a gastroenterologist, a businessman like myself. I wear so many different hats: a community leader, volunteer in the community, and serve on different boards. And we were just talking about this at my table. Maybe why I wanted to be a gastroenterologist, just some different things. Maybe I can maybe expose you to different things. And so, with that, good afternoon. And I want to thank Leticia so much for inviting me to be a part of this special day. It's a real honor to be here to share some thoughts with y'all, the future leaders of Texas. Now, let me start by congratulating our rising leaders for completing the Subiendo program. Being with you fills me with optimism, because it's obvious that the future of Texas, the United States, is in very good hands. So I thank you for that. And I know this week has been a special one, not just for you, but for your parents who have joined you and joined us today, and for all the friends, family, and loved ones who believe in you, support you, push you, and encourage you. So future leaders, I know some of your folks aren't here, but some are. So future leaders, please join me in a round of applause for the people in your lives who have helped you get this far, and I know who you will probably be relying on for some time. If you're smart, I know you are, you'll clap loud. Now, as is customary for guest speakers, I'd like to offer a bit of advice based on my own personal experience for y'all. But first, I'd like to talk about a topic you might find a bit odd, but please bear with me. The topic is elephants. Circus elephants, to be exact. So a couple of years ago, the big circuses stopped featuring elephants. But before that, when an elephant was born in the circus folk would tie it up using a thin piece of rope and a small stake in the ground. Naturally, the baby elephant wants to run, play, explore the world. But at this early stage of life, however, it is too small and weak to break free of the rope. But elephants grow fast. And soon our elephant is big and strong enough to do just about anything it wants. There's just one problem. Having failed earlier to break free and not realizing its own strength, the elephant never again pulls the rope. It never tries and thus never realizes all it can do. And so its whole life, this powerful, magnificent, beautiful animal gets led around basically by a string. So you're asking, Subiendo leaders, you're asking, what does this have to do with me? Well, the answer is, it has everything to do with you. Because student leaders, you are all so much more powerful than you realize. You may find this hard to believe, but I doubt there is an adult in this room who wouldn't trade places with you. There is so much potential in you waiting to be unleashed. So much intelligence, energy. Your lights have never burned brighter or more intensely than they do right now. And not only that, you are the right people in the right place at the right time. I mean, where else would you rather be than Texas? The state is a gold mine with an economy and bigger and stronger than most nations. And we lead culturally as well as economically. Texas is the embodiment of the changes transforming America today. And the next time you look in the mirror, you will see the face of America's future. But none of that will matter if you don't, to get back to the elephant analogy, pull the rope. If you don't test your strength, your limits every day. The philosopher William James said that as individuals, we tend to live lives inferior to ourselves. I think he was right, but it doesn't have to be that way. So I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you as you embark on your last year of high school, into college and beyond, to live lives that are worthy of all the amazing gifts God has given you. Gifts that have been nurtured by the people who love you and that you have worked so hard to develop already. Now, your presence here today, this week, tells me that you're already on the right track, that you're already pulling the rope. And that's definitely worth celebrating. And now, if you don't mind, I want to tell you a little bit about my own journey. My parents placed a huge emphasis on education. So growing up, naturally, I knew that college was the goal. But it wasn't until a teacher saw something in me and told me that he thought I could be a doctor, a healer someday, that I accepted that it might be possible. Well, possible is a long way from easy, of course. It took a long road. That included 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, 3 years of internal medicine residency, 3 more years of gastroenterology fellowship training, and in between, 4 years in the United States Navy. And through all those years of chasing my goal, I had to work nights and weekends to make ends meet. So today when I tell people I'm a doctor with my own medical practice and businesses, they sometimes say, "You must be so smart." But smart didn't have a whole lot to do with it. I could think of a dozen kids from my high school class who were smarter than me, a lot smarter, but in the years since haven't accomplished very much. The point being, where you are 20 years from now is going to be determined not by your gifts, which I said are greater than you can imagine, but by what you decide to do with them. Emphasis on decide, because like it or not, it's up to you. Having said that, I do have a few suggestions. First, once you realize and accept what you're capable of, you need to set high expectations and big goals for yourself. Anything less would be cheating yourself and cheating the world. Second, there's no getting around it. You're going to have to work hard. As brilliant as you are, so are the people you're going to be competing with. Effort alone won't guarantee success, but as a strategy, working harder than the person next to you has a pretty good track record. No matter how hard you work, you're going to have to be patient if you want to reach a big goal. I spent all those years training while friends and family went to work and started making money right away because I knew there was no shortcut to becoming a doctor. It wasn't easy, but I kept my eyes on the prize and it paid off in the end. What enabled me to stay the course and not give up was my passion for helping others and my passion for medicine. And I know you're going to have a lot of people telling you, follow your passion. Do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. I know that's easier said than done. You're thinking, what if I don't know what my passion is at 16 or 17 years old? I was truly lucky to find my passion, and I mentioned a teacher sort of gave that to me. So I was blessed to have a mentor and have somebody care that much about me that basically guided me into my passion. But many of you are still looking for your passion and will be for some time. If that's you, my advice is to forget about passion for a while and focus on compassion, on how you might be of service to others, to your community, and to society as a whole. If you do that, I'm betting that your true passion will reveal itself in time. And I can promise you, from my own experience, when you devote your gifts, your energy, and your time to a cause bigger than yourself, the rewards are greater than you can imagine. Be a lifelong learner. Regardless of when your formal education ends, remember that the world is going to keep changing fast, and you're going to have to keep working hard to keep up and keep your skills fresh. Plus, I think we're just happier when we're learning new things. Find a mentor. Don't wait for them to find you. Seek out the people with experience because that's the one thing you lack right now. I can't tell you how important having good mentors has been to me, from that first teacher to many others since, in keeping me on my path, encouraging me, giving me advice, and never letting me give up. And when the time is right, I hope you'll show your appreciation by becoming a mentor yourself. Young as you are, there are a lot of younger kids, possibly your own siblings, that are trying to find their own way in the world, who look up to you and could benefit from your insights and support. A word about appreciation. The same philosopher I mentioned earlier, William James, said, "It is a thing people crave more than anything else. More than money, more than power, even more than love, believe it or not." Appreciation. Keep that in mind, and it will strengthen every relationship in your life, at home, at school, anywhere. Take the time to appreciate and to express your appreciation for the people in your life. Now, I'm going to take my own advice and express my appreciation for you in two ways. First, by keeping these remarks relatively brief. In the history of speeches, nobody ever complained that a speech was too short. And I want to actually give the balance of my time for questions for y'all. I really want to hear from you, engage in a dialogue. Second, I want to say thanks again to Leticia and everyone at the Macomb School for inviting me, to the parents here today who have raised such phenomenal kids, and to all of our future leaders who truly fill me with joy, pride, and excitement for our future. God bless you all, and hook 'em horns. So if you don't mind, maybe I'll pick on somebody at my own table here, but I really do want to hear from y'all questions and engage in a dialogue, and I think that I'd love to hear from you guys because you're our future leaders, and I can tell you without a doubt, if I can be here today, so can you. As a physician, as a businessman, as a community leader, as a regent for UT, I have been blessed with opportunities, but I wasn't afraid to challenge myself. I wasn't afraid to make myself uncomfortable, to take risks, to be bold, and I know you won't be either. So I just want to encourage you. It's about having the right attitude, by appreciating the opportunities that come before you, and by service to others, and by helping others. And if you do that, you can do amazing things. So don't forget that. So with that, if anybody has any questions, I would love to. Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever get discouraged? And if so, how did you stray away from putting yourself down when you got discouraged?
Well, that's a great question. She gets right to an emotional question. Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, this is probably the one thing that really inspired me to get involved in education and public education, with public schools and then public higher education. Was a lot of experiences that I had, negative experiences that I had going through college and medical school. And I'll be honest with you, in college, things got redundant. I felt like quitting. In medical school, some of those thoughts got a lot worse because I was like, I've already taken this class in college and we're doing this again. And it was the whole drill and kill pedagogy that in the past, and these are kind of things of the past. In fact, my own medical school, about 10 years ago, got put on probation because it didn't move quick enough to the sort of collaborative learning pedagogy with the problem-solving type of learning that you guys were about today, right? Where you do things multidisciplinary, collaborative learning, you work with, because in the real world, nobody's in a silo. I don't work, I work with nurses and technicians and different doctors and teams, right? Team-based care. And so when I was in college and medical school, it was just this whole traditional sort of drill and kill type of pedagogy, right? It's like study, take a test, and then of course, brain dump, you forget all that stuff, right? And then you do it again, and then it was medical school again. So you're darn right I got frustrated. You're darn right there was times where I thought, what the heck am I doing here? But thank God that the third year of medical school came along, and I finally got to be in front of patients, and I finally got to realize what it was all about, helping people. And that just inspired me so much. And you know what? I didn't graduate anywhere near the top of my class. Matter of fact, closer to the bottom. I can tell you that in the last 2 years of medical school, all of the residents and attending physicians that I work with, they assumed I was the top guy in the class. That's how passionate I was about learning. That's how passionate I was about helping my patients. And that's how quickly I learned and then began to teach other students, and I'm thinking I thought you were one of the smart ones, but thank God that happened. But you're darn right, there's going to be times that you want to give up. Let's also state the obvious. We live in a microwave society, right? Where you expect things right here. You're like, ¿qué es el Wi-Fi board? What's going on here? How come it won't download fast enough? What's the Wi-Fi password? And we want it now. We want it yesterday. What's going on? And so one of the things that you guys have to realize is if you don't get comfortable with delayed gratification, then you might as well just say, you know what, I might as well just take a job, get an associate's degree and take a job. You can get a good job as an I'm not putting that off at all. You can get a 4-year college degree and get a good job. But if you really want to be an engineer, a professional, an attorney, an educator, a physician, a scientist, please get comfortable with the journey. Love the journey. It's all about the journey, not the destination. But if you really want to get to that laudable goal, you better get comfortable with delayed gratification. Because like I said, you're going to have friends you went to high school, they're going to be making money already, driving a nice car. And you're going to be like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Trust me. Trust in your intuition, trust in your instincts, trust in your goals, trust in your passion for what you want to do, and stick with it. And trust me, the rewards will come later. And you'll be able to transform not only your life, but your family's life and the generations to follow. And so you just don't give up. Great question. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Sophia from Laredo. I would first like to commend you on serving our country. I think it's a wonderful opportunity that you got to experience. Second of all, I wanted to ask you how the transition was from serving to going to college and how it affected your life.
So let me tell you that I served after medical school. There's a number of different ways to serve. So I was on a health profession scholarship. So basically during medical school, the very first year, they recruited me and they paid for the rest of my medical school. And then I served 4 years in the Navy. And so for me, I went straight in as a general medical officer. I went in, I was a physician in the Navy. So for me, the transition was pretty easy because basically I was practicing the same career, right? But after the Navy, I was an officer in the Navy, had other responsibilities, leadership responsibilities, but I was mostly a physician, a general medical physician. And then after that, I had to do my residency in internal medicine, then gastroenterology. And so my career changed, and obviously because of my choice to specialize, but it was basically doing the same thing. But it's a great question because in other professions, it's not that way. The transition can be a little bit rough. Even in professionals, let's take an example, an attorney. So I know JAG officers in the Navy. These are attorneys in the Navy. You think the laws in the real world are anything like the laws in the military? Totally different, right? And most of the learning you do is on-the-job learning. Actually, let me just take a little tangent for a second. I know we're going to get back to the military in a minute. I would venture to say this. If you guys don't become lifelong learners, you're not going to be a big success in your life. And let me tell you why. And you know this when you become a leader and when you lead organizations like I have and that kind of stuff, and you make a lot of mistakes like I have, you learn this the hard way. But the people you most value in your organization, right? And you hope to become this person yourself, right? But we're there to serve others. And I'll talk about leadership here in a minute too. Now you're going to be on different tangents. But I want to go back to this point about on-the-job learning. It's so important. If you think about it, the success of individuals, about 10% of it comes from their degrees and what they learn in school. 20% of it comes from actually mentoring, relationships they have with people with experience that actually can say, hey, let me tell you how, people with a little bit either less hair or gray hair than them, and they can ask them questions, get advice for them. But 70% of what makes people good, effective leaders or successful in their careers is the on-the-job learning. How effective are they at learning on the fly? And if you don't get that right, I'm sorry, you're going to have a quick rise up, but then you'll plateau. You won't keep rising and rising and rising and becoming a great leader. So on-the-job learning is important. But for attorneys to go back to the military situation, they have to completely learn something new because now they're going to be, let's say, a corporate attorney, or they're going to work at an assistant district attorney for, be a trial lawyer. And it's because nothing they were doing in the military applies anymore. Different law. Now, of course, if they're a dentist, they're going to be dentists when they get out. But, some people are military police. They could be a police officer on the outside. But some of the rates and some of the different, jobs in the military, there's no job like that. And so sometimes, based on what they did, if there were more math and technical stuff, they can find a job as a technician, but they may have to go back to school. And so sometimes the transitions can be a little bit rough. There's a lot of people. The state of Texas is doing a great job, in fact, of really helping with the transition from the military back to the workforce. But we need to do more. But the transition can be rough, and that's a great question.
I have one more question. Would you say that your on-the-job experience, being a physician in the military, made you more passionate about your career?
It did, for sure. But I'm going to tell you two things that it did for me. It was a 4-year delay, and then there was another delay for me when I had other friends that went to medical school that were already working, making money, and I'm still in the military doing this kind of stuff. So that was kind of frustrating part of it. But, they paid pretty well. But those 4 years did two things. Number one, it really allowed me to mature. I don't think I would be here today or as successful as I was without those 4 years. It really allowed me to mature. The second thing it did is it opened doors for me. In fact, the fellowship that I did in Detroit, I'm a firm believer that were it not for my military experience, the chief of the division of gastroenterology was a former Air Force guy. And so when he met me, there was 320 people applying for 2 spots in that program. 8 of those applicants were their own residents at the Wayne State. Think about that. And most fellowships it sounds bad, but we call it inbreeding in medicine. Most of the fellowship programs, they inbreed, which in other words, they take their own residents because they know them. They've been working for them for 3 years. So they just take their own people because you know them. Why take a risk on some Nolan outsider? You don't know this guy, right? So they take, eight were awesome candidates that were in their own internal medicine program. They gave 1 spot to one of those 8, and I got the other spot. Think about that. It would have not happened were it not for that military experience. And so it not only made me a better person, more mature, a better leader, but it opened doors, gave me opportunities.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if you don't have, I have some thoughts on leadership. Do you mind real quick? I just thought about this. This is awesome. You're gonna love this. And if not, then you can start throwing conchas at me or something like that. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so I want to talk to you a little bit about leadership and success. So, and just a few thoughts, and then we can talk. Maybe it'll open up another couple of questions. And I know we got to get you out here in about 5 minutes. Okay, but real quick. Success, and these are some things. I have what I call Nolan's nuggets of wisdom. You all should do this too. Save it on your phone and your notes and that kind of stuff. When you hear different quotes that you like or hear somebody say something, oh, that's cool. I write it down. I have about like 200 of them on my phone. I just love these things, and sometimes when I'm bored, I read back and oh yeah, but these are day-to-day common sense things that help me make decisions and help me serve other people better and be a better leader on a day-to-day basis. It's amazing. So real quick, success is not about money or degrees, but about purpose and fulfillment. Think about that. Great leaders are servants. They're context experts, not content experts. They understand systems, and they're good at uniting people around common goals. Think about that for a second. Think about if we had that in DC for a second. Okay, it's not being recorded, is it? Okay. If you serve others, you're going to be a great leader, right? And context experts, not content. Listen, you don't have to know everything as a leader. You can hire the people that know everything, but you got to understand the context, and you got to create that culture in the organization to be an effective leader. You've got to understand systems, and you've got to unite people. That's your job as a leader, to bring everybody together, and amazing things can happen. All right. Leadership is not about being the best. It's service to others. It's about making everyone else better. Think about that. Happiness is something we choose. I'm a firm believer in that. It's not. Don't make it contingent. Oh, if I do this, I'll be happy. If I make this much money, oh my God, you'll never be happy. The list will keep growing with your sort of list of things, and you'll never. But I believe happiness is a choice. But also remember this: that we are all most happy and we're most beneficial to society when we are doing things to help others. Think about that. And it is incredibly fulfilling to have a job that combines passion and contribution, and I hope you find one. Because as a gastroenterologist, I can tell you, my emails and phones and texts don't stop. I've learned how to say no over the years, but I used to say yes to every board request and this, that, the other, and I just resigned from about 8 boards when I got on the Board of Regents. But my job, I'm very passionate about it. When people see you're passionate and you're good about something, then they want you to be about something else. They want you to be on this church board or this other community board. They want to appoint you to the school board. And then you have all these other opportunities that you can learn from as well. I'm on a bank board. Can you imagine how much a poop doctor learns from all these bankers and businessmen? It's incredible, and I love it. All right. Sorry for the poop joke. I have a lot of poop jokes. Anyway, a little quote from Albert Einstein. Education is not the learning of the facts, but training the mind to think. Think about that. How well you think and solve problems will open doors for you. That's the one thing we lack right now, and a lot of graduates, I don't want this to be you, but they lack the ability how to think and how to solve problems, and they lack the soft skills, right? The creativity, critical thinking, communication, and collaboration. if you get that right brain, don't go too quick to the left brain. Don't give up the music and the this and the different things that allow you to be a creative soul and creative person. Keep those hobbies and things like that because really the soft skills will really open a lot of doors for you. And one last thing, and then I'll take one or two more questions, is as you approach problems throughout your life and your careers, like the problems you were approaching through this Subiendo camp, as you approach problems and problem solving and collaboration, I want you to remember to bring your common sense and experience into that room, into that meeting, but leave your ego and your agenda at the door. Think about that for a second. If that was happening in DC with every meeting, oh my God, wouldn't it be so easy to solve our problems in this country? If they were bringing their common sense and their experience and their knowledge and their smarts into the room, but leaving the agenda and the ego at the door, you can help a lot of people if you think like that. So please do that. So anyway, I thought you could benefit from that as well. One or two more questions maybe, and I think we have to wrap up. Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I wanted to thank you so much for believing in our nation and fighting for us. Thank you for those 4 years. And I wanted to ask you, during those 4 years in the military, what was one of the most significant experiences that you to continue on? Like, what were like the valuable lessons that you learned from serving for our nation?
You know, honestly, it was really the human connection, and it was the relationships that I built there. Seeing men and women, my superior officers mostly, that had served for 20-some, 30 years. And honestly, since I didn't serve very long, for 4 years, there's another concept that I want you to get really familiar with. And if you are, you're gonna really excel at what you do. And that is a concept of vicarious learning. So if you have to experience everything yourself for it to make a mark on you, make an impact and learn something, oh my God, please become adept at learning vicariously from others. So one of the things, to answer your question, that I would just talk to some of them were enlisted chiefs in the Navy. They're chiefs that have been 20-some years, but they were not officers, but they were enlisted, but they were chiefs. The common sense and the leadership skills and the experiences they had from all their service, from serving all over the world, was amazing. And then my officers as well. And I learned so much of that from their mistakes, from their successes. And when you can learn vicariously, when you don't have to step in the mud yourself to learn from it, oh, beautiful things. It's amazing, right? And so really learn from others, surround yourself with allies, not admirers, right? It's fun and it's cool to just surround yourself with people who make you feel good. That ain't gonna help you very much in life. If you surround yourself with allies, people that agree with you maybe 80% of the time, but the other 20% of the time, they're gonna challenge you, they're gonna make you better, and they're gonna pull you back in when you're screwing up, right? And so that's what you need to do, is surround yourself with people that are smart and have strong character, and you'll do great. But that, for me, it was about the relationships, and it was about learning vicariously from so many other great leaders and people that have been serving for many, many years. One more question. Yes, sir.
So I'm from the Valley too. So what made you give back to your community instead of expanding your potential when going to other regions of Texas?
Interesting. You know what? I love this question because it brings up a couple of misconceptions. So I tell people all the time, and this is going to go back to the military real quick. Let me brag on the Rio Grande Valley for just a second. I tell people that the Rio Grande Valley to me is like the military. And they look at me like they're like, he's a really dumb poop doctor, you know? No. Let me explain. In the military, you have much more opportunities for quicker upward mobility in your career, right? Because you're in the military, you're not in the private sector. And so friends of mine, my same age now, you know, are admirals in the military. You know, and had I stayed in, you know, probably could have been an admiral myself, right? But there's that, you know, but that equivalent sort of CEOs of hospitals, for example, physicians that were in, and they've been so since they were in their late 30s. You can't find a physician, CEO of a hospital in late 30s in the real world. It doesn't happen. So there's that opportunity for more advancement and upward mobility in your career in the military. Why is that similar to the Rio Grande Valley? Well, let me tell you why. Because we're so desperate for leaders. and for professionals, right? There's a leadership vacuum in the Valley. Well, there's a leadership vacuum everywhere, right? But especially in the Rio Grande Valley. And so down there, you can have the opportunity to do anything you want. Let me tell you, I am not only, and I love being, when I travel, they ask me what I do. I say I help people. Then I ask, then of course, then they realize I'm being a smart aleck, and they say, okay, what kind of doctor are you? I say, well, I'm a damn good one. And then they finally figure out I'm a gastroenterologist, a poop doctor, and they're not impressed anymore. But anyway, but let me tell you why I've had so many opportunities for businesses and for service, because I've been in the Rio Grande Valley. If I had been open to practice in Houston, my bank account would not, I don't have much anyway, but anyway, my bank account wouldn't be where it is now, and I wouldn't have 6 different businesses that I'm a CEO of right now. I have created all these different businesses that management and billing company, anesthesia company, pathology company, et cetera, et cetera. I've done all these kind of things that I've created down there because we didn't have it down there. Well, in Houston, they have it everywhere. I wouldn't have had those same opportunities. So I really want to flip your thinking on that. And oh my God, I would not be here today if I was any other city in the United States. But because I was in the Rio Grande Valley, all these opportunities, and I was not afraid to make myself vulnerable, walk through that door, except being a school board member, which is sometimes they say like a clay pigeon, the things they shoot, and sometimes being a school board member feels like that because they could come after you when there's problems in the school district. But for me, I don't mind being vulnerable because it's a chance to serve and make the school system better for the students, for the community, and that's what I'm there for. So you take the good with the bad, but that's opened up other opportunities with higher education, and that's why Governor Abbott appointed me to the UT Board of Regents. Does anybody know what a regent is? Let me just tell you real quick because it came up at the table. I didn't know when I was in high school at all what a regent. I met one and I didn't know what the heck that was. What is that? Well, a regent, we're appointed by the governor. We serve 6-year terms. We are the ones directly responsible for overseeing the UT system. What is the UT system? Well, UT system has 14 institutions, 8 academic institutions. You're sitting at the flagship right here, UT Austin, right? There's others, UT Arlington, UT Tyler, UT Permian Basin, UT Dallas, UT El Paso, UT Rio Grande Valley. Did I name them all? I think so. UT San Antonio. There you go, there's our 8. There's 6 health institutions. You've probably heard of MD Anderson, right? That's our big one. Then you have UT Southwestern. Don't let the Southwestern folks tell them that I told you MD Anderson was a big one. They'll say they're their big one. But they have UT Health Science Center San Antonio, the first one, UT Medical Branch in Galveston, UT Health in Houston, UT Health Science Center in Tyler. Huge system, $20 billion operation. That's a $20 billion budget. So we oversee the chancellor and we oversee the system. And so there's 14 presidents that report to the chancellor that report to us. Big responsibility, but a big opportunity to make the educational system better for our great state. And we have so much more we can do. We graduate 2/3 of the health degrees in this state, and we graduate the UT system 1/3 of the undergraduate degrees. Think about how big that is. 245,000 students, 62,000 just graduated this year. So it's a big undertaking. It's a big responsibility, but it's also very rewarding. But we can do a lot more, and we need to do a lot more because you know how fast Texas is growing. This state will double in population in the next 30 to 50 years. Just wrap your brains around that. And you guys need to be up here. I'm tired of this stuff already. You need to be up here being the leaders, and we need to get you here. But so you got to keep making the right decisions, working hard, surround yourself with great people, call home a lot. Don't use the credit card unless they tell you it's okay. That's for the parents, okay. But no, thank you all so much for being here. It gives me great pleasure to be inspired by you guys. And I know our future, the state of Texas, is in great shape with you guys. So God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bettis. We appreciate you being here with us and sharing your words of wisdom of leadership. I mean, we've got a great room here of students that are going to do great things, and it's fun to be part of this journey with them. I believe we have a token of our appreciation from the class of 2019. I can't remember who's presenting it. I'm really sorry. And maybe no one has it. Maybe it's in the back. I'll be sure to go get it here shortly, but I apologize for that. But we do sincerely thank you for being here with us. Before we part ways, I want to extend my sincerest thanks and appreciation to our Subiendo staff. They had special critical roles to play in executing the 2019 Academy. This week would not have been possible without their tireless efforts to ensure that the students got the most out of Subiendo. They have put in many, many hours in the last 7 days and lifted too many boxes to count. I thank you, staff, for being with us and for giving all that you have to Subiendo. So will my staff please stand up? I know we still have some staff that are already transporting some students to buses and starting that transportation route. But I'd like to give another special thanks to Jamal Fielder and Astrid Alvarado. They are the executive team who has truly been working in our office for the past few weeks and have handled all the logistics of planning travel. And they are the Subiendo family that make this possible. And Subiendo is what it is because of their commitment and belief in our mission. And Astrid, Jamal, I don't see you right now, but thank you for all that you do and for making this program what it is. Yes. As we close out the 2019 Academy, I wish to share with you students just how much you inspire us. I know this is not goodbye, but see you later. Your Subiendo network lasts beyond these 5 days, and I know I've been telling you that we're going to stay in touch, and I truly mean that. You've made new friends today, this week. We will be checking up on you. I know that the senior year is going to go fast, and parents, as a parent myself, who has, I'll be in your shoes in, 8 short years. I know how hard it is to let go, but I think it's important for you to know that there are great universities across the country that are ready for your students to be there. And as someone here with the University of Texas at Austin, we look forward to seeing you on our campus. Students, I hope you will reach out as you navigate the next year with your college application process. You have great team leaders who are here to help you navigate that next step. We hope to see many of you back here. And until then, safe travels, and thank you, and hook 'em horns.